Hey, welcome to the first episode of Project Batman. I'm Kenn Edwards. You guys might know me from another podcast called So Let's Get to the Point that this show branched off of. And the reason I'm talking to you in the intro right now is just to inform you that it won't normally be like this. The way that I sort of did this episode with the other two hosts of the show, I sort of conducted it within the framework of my show where I was the main host. And for the record, at the beginning here, every episode from now on will not be like that. It'll probably just play the theme song, go straight into it, and that's about it. Here we go. Project Batman, Episode 1.
Some guys really like Batman, and they had an epiphany. So they all got to work on the next Batman movie. And now they are the heroes, and you get to follow along. They're bringing him to life every week after this song. Batman, Project Batman, Project Batman, fuck yeah.
Okay, so what are we here to do? I'm Ken. You guys know me.
I'm Otto.
I'm Sean.
You guys know Otto previously as Vincent Ottobre on the show, but he'll be known from Otto. I keep telling myself that I'm going to.
It doesn't matter. You can call me whatever you want.
I know, but I do tell myself like Otto's just. Vincent's a pretty cool name, but Otto's an awesome nickname that I don't have for anyone else, and I have a friend named Vince. Mm-hmm. But for this show's purposes, I'm going to try to stick with Otto.
Basically, if you shout a name in my direction, I'll probably answer to it. It doesn't matter what.
What do they call you at work?
I don't know.
You don't have a nickname at work?
People don't refer to me by name at work.
Hey, you, get over here.
Dude, for the first few months of my job, they referred to me as driver or you.
Really?
Yes.
They all know my name. It's just easier just to shout at people.
Sean, welcome to the show.
Glad to be doing this. This should be fun.
Yeah. So what we're doing, I guess there's no reason not to already go into this because when they listen to this, I'll have already explained it in the intro. But we're starting another podcast, and it's going to be it's going to be for anybody who likes Batman and writing, and we're gonna or filmmaking, making a project, something like that. We're going to merge those two. So, since you came to me with the idea, Otto, let's let you be the lay it all out for the people.
All right. Basically, what we're doing here is it is our plan to make an animated Batman film set in the Batman animated series DC animated universe continuity to sort of bridge the gap between the end of the new Batman adventures and the beginning of Batman Beyond. At the very beginning of the first episode of Batman Beyond, there's a flashback as to why Bruce Wayne stops being Batman. The episode is called Rebirth. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's good. The first episode of Batman Beyond is easy to find. It's on the internet. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Whatever. Just go look for it. But we want to sort of bring this together. We've all got skills that can lead to a really good project, I think. We were all huge fans of the Batman animated series as a kid, and we'll be able to sort of... I think that we're going to be able to deliver a very good product and something that you guys might get to enjoy in the next half decade or so.
And this is like I said before, it's just for writing, but it's really like we're going to start out on just a project story level, move into screenwriting, and then maybe when we get a script locked down, move on further from that, and then we'll record that. But maybe people don't know, just like I didn't know. Basically, everybody knows Batman. Everybody knows Batman the Animated Series, Batman. Even if you've never seen that show, it's your basic idea of Batman. Like
it's every time I picture Batman, that's how I think of it.
Yeah.
I think of Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. And Batman Beyond, which I didn't even know that's what this was about, was Batman being... What happens is Batman's old. He stops being Batman. He finds / hires / it is later revealed has set up for his son to be Batman. And we're bridging that gap because it hasn't been depicted, right?
Right. I mean, the guys behind the animated series, Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, they sort of hinted at stuff that happens between the two series. We have a couple of small things that are mentioned either, in small bits of dialogue in some episodes, or as, just things that the creators have said happened. And we've got these little pieces that we're going to try and piece together, and we want this to be, actually, completely reasonably canon. It probably won't be canon as considered by the people who created the DC animated universe, but it would not be, it wouldn't contradict anything is the point.
With the ultimate goal here really being for someone like Paul Dini or Bruce Timm to view and enjoy our material.
Yeah, they don't even have to. We're not doing this to get any sort of money or whatever. We're doing this because it's going to be awesome, and hopefully other people who are already awesome will think that we are awesome.
And where I'm at is I've been obsessed with writing and slowly building up trying to get better at writing and write scripts over the past, especially year or so. And when you brought this up to me, suddenly the idea of accountability really hit hard for me. I got super excited about this because it's not just me anymore. We have a definite ending. There's information we can't deny. Nothing's going to change. I can't argue with myself about very specific things. Mm-hmm. I just love that. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to go in and help you guys make a story to make this work. Mm-hmm. Sean, you want to tell them why you're here?
Pretty much, I just wanted to listen to what ideas you guys came up with the story and see what I can work with in drawing and getting ideas in my head.
Yeah, Sean's our lead animator. We will probably have other animators, but he's going to be the lead animator. And we're going to, this is going to emulate the look of the animated series, hopefully to a T.
So I'm going to check out these storyboards now.
Yeah, Sean has some storyboards that he drew. He just gasped.
Dude, I'm already in. Oh, man.
I know, right?
Yes.
And that looks that looks official.
Yeah. I want to see this movie already. Dude. I've been watching so much Batman lately. I told him before you got here, Sean, but I've been trying to download or I have downloaded onto my computer, literally, to metaphorically download information of the universe for this project. So I've been watching all these Batman episodes. I watched the first 8 episodes of Batman Beyond the other day. It was awesome, and I feel like I'd never seen that.
Yeah, I haven't either. Honestly, I didn't start until 2 days ago.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's a little more juvenile, but
yeah,
as far as storytelling goes, it works.
It really does, especially
Mm-hmm.
that the first 2 episodes there, the Rebirth Part 1 and Part 2. That was intense at some points. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Yeah,
I just watched it about an hour before we started this podcast. I mean, of course, I had seen it before, but I wanted to watch it just to refresh my memory. And that scene at the beginning is really powerful. I was like,
oh, where Batman grabs the gun to point at the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you're like,
I gasped.
It's nuts, and that's something that we want people to do watching our movie. Is that we want people to be like, wow, I cannot believe that happened. Yeah. Of course, Batman's not going to be using a gun. Spoiler alert: Batman doesn't use a gun, but
So, do we want to lay out the details we have as far as like... Because
story-wise, what we've got now?
Yeah, because anybody who listens to this, you're going to get it spoiled.
Yeah, that's the thing. We'll try and... if there's like a really big spoiler, put in something that says, hey... If you're going to watch the movie eventually and don't want to know how it ends, don't listen to these next couple of minutes.
Right, but there might be whole episodes where we're working through problems. So I'm saying here at the beginning that like this is to document a chronicling of a project. And if you want to, there'll be, first of all, there's going to be plenty of movies in the future that you can be surprised by. But if you're not going to listen to this side podcast, just be excited because there's a Batman movie in your future that you'll enjoy.
Yeah, and I mean, at least... and the cool thing with the podcast is that they're going to be archived sort of, not just for our own records so that we like, oh yeah, we had that good idea, what the hell was it? Oh crap, I forgot! We're going to have... that going for us, but also as like when the movie is finally completed, people will be able to watch the movie and then listen to these podcasts like, oh, this is them actually creating it, like on the spot.
Right. And I don't think anybody's done anything like that before. I mean, unless you're counting like really like detailed special features of like a major project like DVD, mm-hmm. But there hasn't been like recordings released for like people talking about how to
like actually writing the thing right there.
So hopefully that'll be cool and interesting to follow and see how it evolves. Mm-hmm. So let's lay it out.
Okay. Basically, what this story is going to delve into. Let me just give you what the opening scene is, and this is what the storyboards that we have are for. The opening scene takes place this movie takes place about 10 years after the animated series and 10 years before the flashback at the beginning of Batman Beyond, which places it in roughly the year 2009, which works for what we're going into in just a minute. So it's about 10 years after Bruce is in his mid-40s, and you got these two guys. At the moment, they're robbing a bank. They could be doing something else, but for our purposes now, let's just say they're robbing a bank. That's usually a good thing to start a Batman movie with, and you can see that it's a direct homage, like, oh, this is animated series territory right here. You dive into it with some sense of familiarity. And you got these two guys robbing a bank, and then, of course, Batman shows up, as he always does, there to save the day. And he's fighting these guys. One of them gets the upper hand. He gets shot. Not fatally, mind you, because that would totally screw with the rest of the movie. But he gets shot in such a way that he finds it difficult to continue fighting. He eventually does get out of it, but he has to leave in a hurry. I guess because the cops show up or whatever, because, cops hear gunshots in Gotham City. They're just like, oh, well, that must be the 2:00 bank robbery. So he leaves.
Can you believe people are still living in Gotham?
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, I'd love to meet Batman, but any situation where I would have to meet Batman is not going to be optimal for me.
Batman doesn't want to meet you. I'm sorry.
Oh, he will after we're done with this.
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
And then he sort of goes back to the Batcave, and Alfred's sort of patching him up, and Batman realizes that I'm getting older. I'm getting slower. I need a new suit, something that can augment my abilities. And Alfred's just, why don't you just hang up the cape and cowl? He's like, well, I can't do that. Not yet. And so basically, the story is going to be chronicling the prototyping and design of the Batsuit that we're all familiar with from Batman Beyond, the red and black thing with the jet boots and the invisibility and all that neat stuff.
It's so weird that they've never delved into that suit's history before.
Yeah, you've got they hint at it at. You said you've watched the first 8 episodes of Batman Beyond, right? Because I think it's
between 6 and 8. I think the last one I saw might have been the one after Disappearing Ink.
Okay, so you saw Disappearing Ink.
Yes.
You remember that mech suit that he had.
Yeah.
That was the prototype. I mean, like that. The history of that is actually related to the history of this suit. It has to make an appearance. My friend Piper brought this up to me. Her and I had like this huge conversation about this, and she brought that up, and I can't believe that I forgot about it because that's probably my favorite episode of Batman Beyond, where Bruce comes back as Batman for like 30 seconds, and so you've got that whole thing going on, and then, but like that suit will have to make an appearance just because that was one of his early designs for making a new Batsuit. He said he couldn't use that one because it put too much strain on his heart. You know, it takes a lot of physical strength to wear that thing, even though it's got all those motors and crap. You still need to be a rough, tough machine, and it's not something that a middle-aged guy's going to be able to do. Mm-hmm. So he had to design something a little more lightweight. But it chronicles the design of the new suit, and also what it's going to go into is it is mentioned in the Batman Beyond episode Out of the Past, and I believe it's mentioned in the Justice League Unlimited episode Epilogue,
which I just watched.
Did you? I gotta watch that again. They reference an event called the Near Apocalypse of 2009, which is the final fight between Batman and Ra's al Ghul. There's hardly anything canon-wise that references what happens in this Near Apocalypse, other than it's the final fight. Talia al Ghul ends up betraying her father to save Batman and, I guess, the world. That's it. That's all we know. Those are, and ostensibly you can get from the name of it that it takes place in 2009.
Right.
So, originally, I feel I'll bring this up. Originally, I was going to not do it originally I was not going to have that take place in 2009. I was thinking maybe 09's like just a serial number designation of a satellite or something. But then again, through that conversation with Piper, I realized that 2009, at least chronologically in that universe, is the most logical point for our story to take place. And, because obviously it's not a real universe. We can use years in this that, have already passed by. And, because, Batman Beyond takes place in 2039. We're not going to have the sort of technology in 2039 that's going to be in Batman Beyond. And even in the Batman animated series, they have technology that we can't even dream of. I'm sorry, Mr. Freeze, if you fall into a cryogenic thing, you're dying. You are going to die. We don't have a suit that'll keep you alive. You're just going to freeze to death. And, we got stuff like that. So we can throw aside the whole, it's 2013 now, this didn't happen. We can throw that whole thing aside just because, we know that this isn't a real universe, so we'll just take our word for it.
And if anybody's watching Batman and complaining about technology that isn't real,
you're an idiot.
Fuck them.
What is this flashback you keep talking about?
At the beginning of Batman Beyond?
Uh-huh.
Well, basically, it's at the very beginning of Batman Beyond, we see Bruce Wayne as Batman. He's in the new Batsuit, the red and black one, and the writers have said that this event takes place 20 years after the end of the new Batman Adventures, which ended in 1999. So, basically, you've got, he's sitting there, he shows up because they're holding Bunny Vreeland, the daughter of Veronica Vreeland, hostage for, $5 million, and now that they've got the money, they're going to kill her. And Batman shows up, And of course, he's kicking ass because he's Batman, and you can tell watching this that he is definitely stronger in that suit. Like, I mean, he's punching people over airplanes. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he's definitely he's definitely at peak physical prowess. Except for in the middle of this fight, he has a heart attack. I mean, this guy's old, and he's been, I mean, well, not old, but in his 50s, early 60s, and it's hard to, be Batman for any length of time. It can't be good for you. And so he starts having a heart attack, and this guy's getting the upper hand on him, beating him to death with a wrench. And Batman realizes, shit, if I don't do something, I'm going to die. And he notices one of the guns that one of the other criminals dropped, picks it up and points it at the guy. Now, if you're familiar with Batman, you know this is something that is deep. Yeah. I mean, like, Batman has sworn never to use a firearm just because, it's because, one, he doesn't want to be the same as the criminals. Two, it's the weapon that murdered his parents.
Yeah, that's the moment I was talking about that I gasped. As soon as he just picked that up. He didn't, before he ever pointed it at the guy, like him reaching for it, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. And then what he does is he scares the guy off, and the guy gets arrested. And he walks out of the building, obviously battered. I mean, he's bleeding, takes off his mask, and the look on his face is just like, what did I do? And he looks at the gun, and he's just like in shock at himself. He's as shocked as we are. He just drops the gun and walks away like he just lost a baseball game or something. And he goes to the Batcave, and he puts the suit up. And he walks up to the entrance to the Batcave, says, never again, turns off the lights, and closes the door forever on that era of his life.
And I said, damn!
And that, of course, isn't going to be the main focus of our movie, but it's going to be the events that lead up to that era in Batman's life. It's going to be him getting that suit. It's going to hint at he's getting older, because, I mean, that's why he needs the new suit.
My wife made a good joke when we watched that, and he said that, and I went, damn, and then it went to the intro, and she was like, how many times do you think he's done that before? Come back from a shitty night with the Joker and just been like, never again. Never again, Alfred.
Yeah, so we've got that to work with. We have an idea of what Batman is going to be like. Here's another scene I want to talk about. This is a scene that popped into my head one day. I was like, it was the scene that got me really excited for this film. All right, you see, Bruce Wayne's trying to practice, get better. He has that laser shooter thing, that reflex trainer in his.
Oh, this is what I'm excited about. This is our teaser trailer.
Yeah. He's got that trainer thing so he can hone his reflexes. It shoots the lasers at him, and he has to try and knock him out. And it's like a time test. Well, here's the scene. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to do the music for the movie. I'm going to try and... Of course, I can't get an orchestra. If somehow I manage to get an orchestra, we're set.
Dude, I've got an orchestra on here.
That's right, you do. We could totally do that. But we've got this scene where basically he for the first time he puts on the Beyond Batsuit.
And Alfred has left it there for him, right?
Yeah, I think at this point we're not sure where we're going with this yet, but Alfred has either died, left, or retired, something. But we don't know if this is going to take place during the movie, or before the movie, or hinted to that it is going to happen after the movie. We'll work on how it gets into the story later. But at this point, Alfred has left the new Batsuit for Bruce. And he puts it on. And he goes through the training regimen. And he's fighting the lasers and stuff, throwing batarangs, doing his whole bat thing. And then he hits the last one. And it shows up on the screen of the bat computer. Record time. It is at
Bam! Batman. Coming next year.
It is at that point Batman is at his best. Like, you know that this is... I mean, he is better at that point than he's ever been with the help of this suit. It's hard to say that, because Batman's always been the best that there will ever be. But the best can get better.
I think that has to be, like, not just a flashback, but like a pivotal moment, like maybe midway through the story or something.
That's what I'm thinking about. I mean, like, the story's not going to be told through flashbacks. It's going to be happening as we and the reason I brought up the music is that during this whole thing, there's going to be like an orchestral version of the Batman Beyond theme going on with, like, you know, choirs and all that fancy shit going on while this scene is happening. And I mean, it's supposed to be one of the most powerful moments in the movie. If you've seen Mask of the Phantasm, if you haven't, stop listening right now, go watch it, and then jump back in.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'll throw out as far as, like, spoiler alert. Like, if you haven't seen Mask of the Phantasm and you want to keep up with this, you need to go see Mask of the Phantasm. Because I had never seen it until the other day. And, well, I watched like a week ago and I was really sleepy and I fell asleep. And then, like, at the end, my friends didn't know I fell asleep and I didn't want to, like, just to deal with that annoying conversation of, like, oh, you fell asleep, and, like, they were leaving, so they were like, what did you think of it? And I was like, oh, it's good. And that was it. And then I finished it for real the other night, and then at the end I'm just, like, so sad. now I see why they were so weirded out by me just being like, yeah, it was good. It was fun. It was Batman.
It's like, but there's a scene in Mask of the Phantasm where it's a flashback about how Bruce becomes Batman. And there's this scene, he's in the Batcave for the first time, and, like, he doesn't have a table or anything. Stuff's sitting on a rock in the Batcave. That's how proto-Batman this is. And he's sitting there wearing the cape, and he puts on his gloves, and Alfred walks in and hands him the mask. And for the first time, he puts it on. I mean, I'm getting chills telling you about this right now. That's how powerful this scene is. You've got, you know, Batman's theme playing while he puts on the mask for the first time, turns around and looks at Alfred, and Alfred's just like, oh, God. And he's like...
horrified.
Yeah, I mean, it's like... And that was the point of Batman, was to strike fear in the hearts of the criminals of Gotham City.
And yeah, and, like, everybody knows the Batman story about him, like, getting his parents getting shot, but, like, Mask of the Phantasm is, like, why, not why in general why he is the way he is, but why, what puts him in that moment, the moment that pushes him to actually put on that mask for the first time, like, and you just see where his head is at, and it's just so tragic. Like, I just heard a Paul Dini quote that was like, the tragedy of Bruce Wayne's life is not that his parents died, but ultimately that he had to put on that mask, or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some deep shit right there.
Yeah. But I thought... I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I finished.
Oh, okay. I thought one thing, since we're trying to tie this to, like, writing real quick, and this would be easy to do since we all know Batman, is the first place you're supposed to start off with when you're thinking about a script, obviously, is what are your characters like? And just on the off chance that anybody doesn't know stuff about Batman, we're going to do a character tree right now, just as a writing exercise.
Okay, we can do that.
Now, this is based off of, I read this this writer online named Film Crit Hulk, and I think in reality he's like he's in the film business somehow. he's read thousands of screenplays, but like he's just basically put this book up online of like how he approaches writing screenplays and like advice and stuff. And this character tree model is built off of what he wrote. So you start with the feet, and the feet represent, what do they look like? What are the facts of their family history? Where have they lived? The feet are factual details to be drawn on. So, we know what Batman looks like. He's a big, strong guy.
6'5".
Yeah.
200 pounds.
Or more.
All of it muscle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's easily more than 200 pounds. I mean, I think Christian...
Probably his dick's 200 pounds.
Yeah, right. I think Christian Bale, just for Batman Begins, got up to like 220 or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think he was bigger in The Dark Knight, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Where have they lived? His entire life, he lived in Gotham.
And he lived in Wayne Manor.
Yeah. And Wayne Manor is technically in Gotham, right?
I believe so. I believe it's on the very outskirts of Gotham. I think it's as far away as you can get from the center of Gotham and still be in Gotham.
And Gotham is an island, correct?
I believe so.
It definitely is in Nolan's movies.
I want to say that Gotham is an island. I know it's a coastal city. According to the DCAU, I know this. Gotham City, along with Metropolis, is actually in the state of New York. They've said this.
I thought it was an alternate universe where like Metropolis was New York.
No, I don't know. That might be, but the fact of the matter is, they're both physically located in New York.
Gotham's Brooklyn.
And they're both like a stone's throw from each other. They're like between Waynesboro and Charlottesville. Mm-hmm. So they're really close city-wise.
And Superman just rarely comes out and gives him a hand. All that shit.
Well, Superman's usually off on other planets doing his...
I guess he does have
stuff.
a bigger space to worry about.
Yeah.
I guess Metropolis is kind of home base for Superman.
But if it weren't for Batman, Gotham would just go to hell. He
can't
make it over there.
Superman probably wouldn't even know what to do with Gotham.
Well, I mean, did you ever see what was it called? The Batman Superman movie, World's Finest.
Yeah. No.
Watch that if you're more interested in between Batman and Superman. It's in this continuity, and it details the first time Batman and Superman met.
Oh, right on.
And actually what happened... basically, the plot of this movie is that Lex Luthor realizes, shit, I can't kill Superman. Who can? He hires the Joker to take on Superman.
That's awesome.
In return for Lex Luthor taking on Batman.
That's nuts.
They trade enemies. It's really good.
That's cool. I'll check it out.
But yeah, and it is really good. But I think it's that the details, like Batman and Superman only ever really got along professionally. They weren't just like, hey, Clark, want to come over to my house for dinner? Oh yeah, sure, buddy. I'll bring Monopoly. We'll do some shots, and it's gonna be great. No, they pretty much only got along on the, yeah, hey, you're Superman, I'm Batman. We'll leave it at that sort of thing.
Very different kinds of people.
Yeah, but
all right, and the facts of their family history, very tragic.
Yeah,
his parents got shot.
Mm-hmm.
And
I found it is Joe Chill who shoots his parents in the DC animated universe. It is not the Joker.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's going to come up at all, but that's actually... Yeah, but if it is important, there it is.
Yeah. All right, B, the groin, because we're working feet up.
His groin goes below his feet, dude.
That's what's weird about Batman. A lot of great things about him, but that's the one flaw. Now, what do they want? How does their sexuality manifest itself? What are the other base ones? Greed, approval, esteem? The groin addresses all the things about the person that are born out of impulse.
Well, for example, if we do want to delve into sexual thing, he has...
And again, not that any of this will play a part in the movie. It's just so in our minds we know Batman better.
Right. Ever since, again, Mask of the Phantasm, watch it. Ever since Bruce and Andrea Beaumont had their, not really a falling out, but ever since the events that happened between them, Bruce doesn't have a love life per se. I mean, he has sort of flings with Catwoman and Talia al Ghul, but really, I mean, he never, after that point, pretty much for the rest of his life, he never holds a relationship that's any sort of meaningful.
Speaking of Talia al Ghul, I promised myself I wouldn't get into this, but in The Dark Knight Rises, spoiler alert, if your entire plan is to, like, stab Bruce Wayne in the back, wouldn't you do it when his cock's in your mouth and you're alone in his house instead of him being in the Batman suit?
I don't know about you, and I don't know about Talia or the actress playing her, but I feel, not that this has ever happened, but if I had Batman's cock in my throat, I wouldn't have enough control over my arms to reach a knife.
Anyway,
but he's got that sort of thing. His drive, his impulse. He wants to make Gotham a better place to where no one will ever have to experience what he experienced again. No kid's ever going to have to grow up. Here's actually a quote from an episode of Justice League. I think it's Justice League, not Unlimited, where they end up in an alternate universe where the Justice League have actually taken over the world and pretty much just become dictators in order to create the perfect utopia. And Batman is fighting Batman. And it's like, they both know every move they're going to make, so they have to try and outsmart one another. And the alternate universe dictator Batman is just like, we've made this world a better place to where no 8-year-old boy will ever lose his family to a punk with a gun. And it's like, that hit, like, actual Batman dropped his Batarang and said, you win, when he said that. Because that is the heart of what Batman wants. That is what he wants for Gotham City. Is that he wants Gotham City to be a good place to live. Mm-hmm. And he's doing it the only way he knows how. They don't really go into police corruption all that much in the animated series, but you got, police corruption to deal with, or the fact that they're probably just inept. But you've got that to deal with, and he had to take the law into his own hands, and he wants to make his parents proud. Like, especially in Mask of the Phantasm, you're always seeing him at his parents' grave.
Mm. Yeah.
He's always, he's talking to them, and he's like...
Even in the Batman suit, what a dumbass.
Yeah, and that was what spoiled the whole thing for Bruce? And Batman's like, God damn it! I am the knight!
Okay, so Batman wants justice. He wants justice, but ultimately at the heart of it, it's to please his parents.
Oh, yeah.
To make up for whatever he feels that, like, he couldn't stop at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. C, the heart. What do they need? What things do they secretly need in their life that will make them a better person? Notice it is rather different from what a character wants, which may be misguided. A character's heart is likely the key to the ending catharsis.
What he needs and what he doesn't necessarily go for. He seems to go for what he wants more than what he needs. Yeah. What he needs is to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that he pretty much.
And Phantasm is great at showing that too. If he would have chosen that alternate life, Batman wouldn't have been his Wouldn't have been what he ultimately did if she hadn't left him to go with her father.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, but what he needs a sense of closure in his life to the tragedy of his parents' death, and that's what he's trying to get through being Batman. But he's not getting it, and it's like I think that's what he needs at his core, is to be happy. I mean, what he really needs to do is he needs to put up the Batsuit, but we can't do that because otherwise, I mean, a world without Batman is just it's not a world I want to live in.
Yeah. And we're basically, with the story we're trying to do, we're going to lay the groundwork at some point for, like, we need to reference at some point the Terry thing, like him making it so one day he doesn't have to do that.
Right. Well, the thing is that Project Cadmus, from what I understand, that wasn't by his consent. But it would make sense, again, going back to my conversation with Piper, that it would make sense that if it was sort of alluded to in that, I'll have to watch that episode again, because it could be where he gets shot in the beginning of our movie. Basically, how this is from the Justice League Unlimited episode Epilogue. Basically, he was injured and somebody stole his blood, and they
That's
used
right,
it. They used it for the Project Cadmus technology to make Warren McGinnis shoot little Bruce Wayne sperms. As crazy as that sounds, it's actually what happened. But
it's cool.
But it's I mean, yeah, it's definitely cool, and Terry McGinnis is biologically Bruce Wayne's son, and but we could allude to that.
I'm not saying there needs to be a major storyline or like.
Oh yeah, I mean, and
even Batman needs to be involved in it. Just I don't know.
Like what I wanted to do is I wanted to do just a little thing in the background that you would have to be looking for to catch it, but somebody grabs the bloodied rag.
Right, yeah.
Just
like
in the
that.
background. Just like the camera doesn't even focus on it. It's just like, wow.
It shows it in that epilogue episode, them grabbing the rag, and you can just be like, what brought to that little shot, like what leads up to that shot can be a scene in our movie.
And I'd have to watch that again, because that may end up... Is what we're going to do before we actually write the thing, is that we're going to get a basic story laid out. We're gonna,
obviously.
And then we'll write all the dialogue and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, structured outline and everything. Okay, throat. How does the person sound? Not just the literal voice, but how does the person project themselves? How do they come off to people? What is their surface vibe, as they say? A person's throat is basically their posture and attempt at presentation.
This is actually a really interesting character study on Batman, because he's pretty much two different people.
Yeah.
When he's in public as Bruce Wayne, he now again, this goes into the literal thing, but at least in early episodes of Batman the Animated Series, he speaks to people differently. He's got sort of a lighter tone to his voice. He doesn't sound quite as gruff. He presents himself kind of as like it's the one thing that the animated series really did stray from the comics on, was Bruce Wayne as a character. Bruce Wayne as a character in the comics he was basically just he was Paris Hilton.
Yeah, douche. Playboy.
He's a douche and a playboy, sticking his cock in everything that moves, trying to stick it in everything that didn't.
Because in the animated series, he's more of a flirt, sort of. Like
he flirted, but he actually legitimately wanted good. He was less of a playboy and more of like
just an out-of-world dude in general.
Yeah, like it's a weird comparison to bring up, but almost like almost like Steve Jobs in his early days.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of money, and he just wanted to put it in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how Bruce Wayne presents himself to the universe around him. As Batman, and this is how he acts towards Alfred generally, he's a lot more gruff. He's got a little more pessimistic outlook on life.
And only the facts matter. Like, only what he wants at that moment is... Like, only what's in front of him, what's important, major deal. That's all he's going to talk about as Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
He pretty much throws his Bruce Wayne persona out the window.
No bullshit.
Yeah, he just becomes cold.
Yeah, I mean, he really does. He pretty much tries not to show emotion. And he does a damn good job most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like... I am probably the only time I've ever seen him emotionally break down was like right before he became Batman and right as he stopped. You know, when Andrea left him and it was him at his parents' graves talking to them saying, I want to go back on my vow. I can help in some other way. I don't want to go fight crime myself. I never counted on being happy. And I mean, it's raining in that scene, but I think he's actually crying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't be far off to assume that from that scene.
I think Batman's the kind of guy that's only going to cry alone.
Yeah. And then at the very end of his being Batman, when he looks at the gun, I think at that point he really did lose it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got sort of, so he's got that, but for the most part, he displays himself, like when he's Batman, he displays himself as a no-nonsense guy.
Right.
And it's very imposing. But, yeah.
Okay. Left cheek. What is their intelligence? How does it manifest itself? How do they problem solve? Basically, the left cheek exposes the left brain abilities. He's a detective.
Yeah, he's Batman. He's the goddamn Batman. He's a detective. He is obviously very intelligent to the point of inventing most, if not all, of his own technology. I know he had help with the Batmobile. I know that I'll have to watch the episode that involves this, but he did have help with the new Batsuit, the servo motors that actually are in there. What the hell was that name? Something Moon.
Sailor.
No, I forget.
Moon Knight.
No, it was April Moon. April Moon was the name of the episode. It sort of goes into there's the guy who actually helped design the motors that make the new Batsuit as powerful as it is. So he had help with that, but for the most part, he's an inventor. He's very intelligent. He's very observant.
Yeah, one thing about Mask of the Phantasm that and all of Batman that I guess I just never really thought about when I was younger that I really noticed the more I watch it now is his detective abilities. He is so just trying to get to the core of the problem all the time.
Right, and that's something that we really have to put in this movie because
the Mask of the Phantasm is a driving detective movie.
It really
pretty
is,
much.
Yeah. And it's you go into the biggest complaint that I've heard about the Nolan movies is that he does next to no detective work. I mean, he does some ballistic evidence in The Dark Knight. That's it. Yeah, I mean, that's the only real thing where he tried to figure something out.
Yeah, we were talking about the Nolan movies before we started recording earlier, but I feel The Dark Knight is the only one where he really plays detective at all,
and it's only for a minute.
Yeah, but he goes to specific locations specifically for things. Even the opening bank scene, when he's talking to Gordon, I don't know. What I'm saying is, I feel The Dark Knight... If we're mentioning the Nolan movies, I feel The Dark Knight is really the only one to go off of.
Right.
I mean, the other two I like,
But really, it's the epitome of that trilogy.
And I honestly feel, and this is something Film Crit Hulk wrote about in his Batman article after The Dark Knight Rises came out, is he's heard through the grapevine that really, in the beginning, the only Batman movie Nolan ever wanted to do was The Dark Knight. Just like a Joker Batman movie. That's the one he had in his heart. Mm-hmm. And like, the only way he could get Inception funded was if he agreed to a third one. So that might be why it doesn't seem as committed to being Batman. Right. But again, that's just all hearsay and through the grapevine, but I feel like it kind of shows in the work.
Yeah. I mean, like, with The Dark Knight Rises, you watch it, like, the first time you watch it is always the best time you watch it. I mean, it's so epic, but then the more you watch it, the more you see the plot sort of starts to, oh, well, you know what, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
And also, like, maybe that didn't even need to be in the movie at all.
Yeah, it felt really cluttered. It felt like there was so much going on at once, and that's another thing that I want to avoid with our movie, is that, like, for example, we know that at some point between the two series, Barbara Gordon becomes police commissioner. Mm-hmm. We know that at some point, Alfred dies. We know that at some point, Selina Kyle leaves Gotham. We know all of this stuff that happened that is actually a big thing. If we have it all happen during the movie, two things are going to come up. One, oh my god, what is this movie about? Two, is this shit really all happening at the same time?
Yeah, if it serves the plot, if we find a way to serve what we want and include one of those like historical like facts in it, then we can use it. But basically, like, what I loved about Phantasm so much that Nolan does not do is just like driving from scene to scene story, like so simple, like you understand why you're moving from here to here. And not that you can't keep up with The Dark Knight Rises, but it is just cluttered.
Well, because he's trying to focus on like 7 people at one time.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, this movie is going to focus on Batman, Ra's al Ghul, and Talia a bit. Or maybe even...
we gotta have Robin in there.
I'm thinking at this point... Nightwing has ceased being Nightwing. You'll notice in the beginning of Batman Beyond, he actually has Nightwing's suit.
I did notice that.
Oh, okay.
Either that, or maybe he talks to Nightwing, and so Nightwing's like, I think I've about cleaned up here.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, you know. But something that requires that to happen.
All right, right cheek. What is their idealistic/artistic capacity? What is their conscience and morality? Just like before, the right cheek exposes the right brain abilities.
Morality, of course, he never kills.
Right.
That's his big thing. He will not, under any circumstances, kill somebody.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have been enjoying the Joker for so many years.
Yeah, right. And it's like... And that's pretty much what The Dark Knight Returns was about. He finally snaps. I mean, he's like, oh, shit, you know what, I'm done. I'm fucking breaking your neck. Mm-hmm. And he did. And Joker was like, I won. I pushed you too far. I finally got you to snap. That's all I was trying to do. But he gets that, I mean, he won't kill. He also doesn't drink. I don't know if that's ever stated in any of the animated stuff, but Batman doesn't drink, mainly to keep it from like rotting his brain, but there might be a moral thing behind it too.
I'm sure he just also wants to be ready at any moment if something comes up.
Right. But he always drinks like, you know, sparkling cider or something when he does drink. But it's not like alcohol. But then what else was there in the right cheek? Like his artistic abilities?
Yeah.
Artistic, he doesn't really strike me as an artsy sort of guy. He's got enough to... He does have enough to make his costumes and weapons look frightening. Mm-hmm. I think it's about as far as his art skills go.
Yeah, I don't think... He's not really concerned with all of that.
Yeah, I'm Batman. I don't have time for this shit.
All right. Finally, the crown. This is where you can look at all the body parts listed and piece together an actual psychology. You now have all the tools at your disposal to create a real, complex person with a conscious mind and a subconscious ID. So basically,
Who is Batman?
We have Batman.
Yeah, it's like he's the world's greatest detective. He's out there to bring justice to Gotham City, to finally let his parents rest in peace. He's there to just... He is vengeance. He is the knight. He is Batman.
And all of it's really sad. Like, it's all just...
Yeah.
It's a huge tragedy.
He is a very tragic character.
I think that's a good intro. Anything else you guys want to throw in? I mean, we're going to do this all the time.
We're going to... Pretty much every time we want to do more story stuff, we're going to be here. And, like, sometimes, I'm guessing this part you can keep in or leave out, whatever. So, sometimes, like, when it's just story things, unless you have a specific story thing you want to bring up, a lot of it will just be me and him. If there's stuff that really goes into the animation stuff, then...
Yeah, it's pretty much what I wanted to come here for, is I really just want to hear you guys talk, since you guys are coming up with everything, and just listen to what you can bring to the table,
and see what comes into your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly it.
It's just a big collaborative effort. I mean, and I'm
right,
all about it.
And I mean, we're gonna have a lot of people behind this too. We're gonna try and get like voice actors who sound like the animated series characters. We're scouring YouTube at the moment looking for our Batman, and I think we found one that might work. The hardest one to get is we're gonna have to find somebody who can do Ra's al Ghul, because he speaks kind of like an opera singer, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've told you this before, but I can guarantee we can get a cameo, one line at least, from Kevin Smith.
That'd be cool.
And we can get a dead-on Adam West impersonation for one line. But we'll figure out ways to incorporate those things. But basically, to sum it up, I'm very excited we're doing this.
Yeah, me too.
I've wanted to do like a real project for a while, and I think this sounds perfect. We know the universe we're playing in.
We've grown up with those characters our whole lives, so we'll be able to say, like, he wouldn't say that.
Right.
You know, we'll be able to look at it from... Basically, it's a puzzle where the edges and the corners are already where they need to be. Mm-hmm. We just need to put the rest of it together.
Yeah, the very good metaphor. And
yeah.
I hope you guys stick along for the ride, and we'll talk to you next week, I guess.
Awesome.
I'm Batman. Where are the other drugs going?
Swear to me!